You know what's wild? Most people don't really want to hear about your problems. They don't want to see you healed. They want to see you drowning. Slowly. Dramatically. Painfully. And if you're not careful, they'll stand right there on the sidelines, pretending to care, while secretly cheering as you sink. That's the cold truth no one likes to admit. So listen closely. Don't tell people about your problems. Tell them about your comeback, because sympathy fades like cheap perfume. But strength, real, hard-earned, unshakable strength, that leaves a mark on everyone who witnesses it. There's something dangerously beautiful about learning how to rescue yourself when no one else shows up. See, most people are hooked on attention like it's oxygen. They crave validation the way the lost crave direction. They think that sharing their pain will earn them love, comfort, or maybe even help. But what they don't realize is that every time you expose your wounds to the wrong person, you hand them a weapon they can use later. This world doesn't reward the messy. It rewards the mysterious. It doesn't respect those who cry out loud. It respects those who rise quietly. Not everyone deserves access to your vulnerability. That's not just advice. That's a rule for survival in a world that confuses compassion with curiosity. People will smile at you, nod their heads, act like they're listening. They'll say, "I'm here for you," with all the sincerity of a rehearsed line. But some of them are not safe spaces. They're just temporary stops for your deepest wounds. They won't carry the weight with you. They'll carry the story of it, to the next table, the next friend, the next whisper. Picture this. You're having one of those weeks. Work is draining. Your relationship's on thin ice. You're tired. So you confide in someone. A friend, a coworker, maybe even family. You pour your heart out thinking you're safe, and then, a few days later, you hear your own pain being replayed, not with empathy, but with entertainment. Did you hear what she's going through? Her boyfriend might leave her. I don't think she's stable right now. And that's when it hits you. You weren't talking to a listener. You were talking to a loudspeaker. Just because someone is close to you doesn't mean they've earned the right to know what breaks you. Access to your soul is not a birthright. It's not about how long you've known them or how often you talk. Access must be earned, through loyalty, through silence when you're not in the room, and through the rare kind of love that carries your pain like it's sacred, not like it's gossip. Learn to tell the difference between a healing space and a holding space, because some people hold your pain only to throw it back at you later. You've seen it. You're in an argument and suddenly they bring up the time you were broken, the time you said you couldn't handle life. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail dressed as concern. Those people don't want you to win. They want you to stay wounded, because when you heal, you no longer need them. And your independence threatens their illusion of importance. Vulnerability is powerful, but only in the right hands. Give it to the wrong ones, and it becomes ammunition. You share an insecurity, and suddenly it's being used against you. You admit you're struggling, and they treat you like you're beneath them. You tell someone you feel unattractive, and the next time you rise with confidence, they'll remind you, "Didn't you say you hated yourself?" That's not support. That's sabotage with a smile. Be observant. Who checks on you when there's no chaos? Who celebrates you without needing to fix you? Who listens to your silence more than your drama? Those are your people. Everyone else, they might be friendly, familiar, even kind, but they're not your safe zone. Think of your vulnerability like your home. Would you leave your front door wide open for strangers to walk in, criticize your decor, and leave muddy footprints everywhere? No. So stop doing that with your heart. Not everyone deserves a tour of your pain. Your vulnerability isn't weakness. It's treasure. And treasure must be protected, or it loses its shine. Everyone can see your smile, your success, your style. But your tears, your fears, your midnight battles, those are sacred. And the sacred is not for public display. Some people only pretend to care just to stay updated on your misery. They wear empathy like a costume. They'll message you with, "Hey, how are you holding up?" But they don't want the truth. They want the drama. They want content. They want something to talk about when you're not in the room. They'll turn your pain into their entertainment. The minute you break down, they don't rush in to help. They lean in to listen. Not out of love, but out of obsession with your downfall. You broke up with someone? They'll say, "Tell me everything." But what they really mean is, "Give me all the dirt." At work, it's the same story. You're overwhelmed, burned out, and someone says, "You okay?" Want to talk? You open up, and by lunch, your anxiety is the office headline. Suddenly, you're not the strong one anymore. You're the fragile one. That's what happens when you mistake attention for intention. Because not everyone who checks in wants you to get better. Some just want to make sure you're still broken. Your pain makes them feel powerful. Your struggle makes them feel safe. And when you heal, when you start glowing again, they vanish. Or worse, they try to remind you of your pain just to keep you in their comfort zone. That's not love. That's emotional voyeurism. You're not a human to them. You're a story, a source of entertainment. You'll notice it in how they ask. Did he text you back yet? You still seeing that therapist? Are you eating again? And when you finally say, yes, I'm better, I'm healing, their smile fades. Their energy changes. The texts slow down. Because your peace took away their favorite show. Your pain. You can feel it when someone's curiosity is louder than their compassion. They ask, but they don't offer help. They listen, but not to heal, to harvest. So next time someone offers you a shoulder, don't just hear their words. Watch their eyes. Real care is silent, steady, and sacred. Fake care is loud, nosy, and full of hidden motives. Your pain is not a playlist. Your life is not a series. Be private with your battles and selective with your storytellers. Because some people don't listen to love you. They listen to use you. And nothing feeds a fake friend more than a fresh serving of your chaos disguised as confession. Your silence, that's your power. In a world that teaches women to explain, defend, and justify every emotion, silence is rebellion. It's elegance with a backbone of steel. Because when you stop explaining, stop reacting, stop performing for those who never cared, that's when people start noticing. Not because you're loud, but because your quiet speaks volumes. Think about it. You're in an argument. You used to beg to be understood, to be heard. Now you just go quiet. That silence shakes them. Because silence makes people face themselves. It's not emptiness. It's control. There's a woman right now who stopped texting first. She stopped chasing closure. She stopped checking who viewed her stories. Not out of pride, but out of peace. Her silence isn't petty. It's power. And now the same people who once ignored her are confused. Why isn't she trying anymore? Exactly, that's the point. Silence isn't weakness. It's clarity walking in heels. Even at work, silence speaks louder than noise. You've smiled through disrespect, laughed off condescension, over-delivered, and still been overlooked. But one day you stop explaining. You let your work do the talking. You let results echo where your voice once begged to be heard. And suddenly, everyone pays attention. Not because you screamed, but because you moved in silence and shook the room anyway. Your silence becomes your boundary. It filters out the ones who were only there for noise. Because when you stop performing pain, you start protecting peace. The real ones will feel your absence. The fake ones will fade with it. Your silence is not emptiness. It's full. Full of answers. Full of self-respect. Full of calm strength that doesn't need validation. You don't have to post your pain to prove your progress. You don't have to announce your healing to make it real. Real transformation doesn't need applause. It happens in the dark, in quiet mornings, in long nights where you choose peace over chaos, self-respect over reaction. Healing isn't linear. It's not pretty. It's not meant for an audience. Some days you'll dance in freedom. Some days you'll cry in silence. Both count. Both heal. Because every tear, every pause, every breath of solitude is part of your rebirth. You don't heal by telling everyone how much it hurts. You heal when you turn that hurt into hunger. When you turn your ache into art, your pain into power. There's a woman who was betrayed, humiliated, left alone. She could have ranted, posted quotes, exposed the one who broke her. But she didn't. She got quiet. She hit the gym. She built the business. She let her rage become fuel. A year later, she's unrecognizable. Not because she performed her pain, but because she transformed it. Pain doesn't need an audience. It needs direction. Or think of the girl who was told she'd never be enough. Not pretty enough, not smart enough. She didn't argue. She worked. She studied. She grew. Years later, her success became the loudest clapback. She didn't have to say a word. Her silence did the talking. That's what real glow-up looks like. Not loud, not flashy. Just silent evolution that leaves people speechless. You see, pain doesn't define you. It refines you.